everyone. Welcome to Kryptonized. I'm your host, Mark Fidelman. Today, we're going to talk about decentralized hedge funds and DAOs, and we have a company here called Quasar that will discuss about how to create them. And joining me is its founder. You just raised some money, I believe, right, Valentine?
Yeah, small amount.
Small amount. His name is Valentine Pletnev. And hopefully I pronounced that correctly. He's in Barcelona today, and we're going to be talking to him about this concept, which I find fascinating. So, Valentine, please, a quick introduction about yourself, and are you really 23?
Yeah. Hi, by the way, everybody listening. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the intro, Mark. Yes, I am in fact 23, and I'm actually proud of it. I used to be kind of belittled and not taken seriously back in the day, but now I see it as the underdog. It's kind of a strength argument. I've been in crypto since I'm 16. And I come from kind of a research and advisory background. So even though my positions have changed, it was always around educating and kind of onboarding people into the philosophy of crypto. I funded my way through Draper University in San Francisco doing tokenomics reports, but that was after I already dropped out of philosophy in Germany. I've been all over the place, South America and the US, and found my passion quite early. And Quasar is the latest and most exciting venture I've had so far.
So you went to Draper University in Palo Alto?
San Mateo, yeah. Tim Draper's probably
Okay, San Mateo. All right, I thought it was Palo Alto for some reason. That's it. So is Tim Draper an investor in this?
Actually not, which is a pretty funny story, completely unrelated. I have good connections to kind of the Draper community, but when I started to fundraise, I was oversubscribed 2 weeks in. So I kind of asked, someone from the associates if they want to take a look at it. They just said no. I was like, I guess that's it. But after talking to some of the Draper people afterwards, they were like, "What? You approached us? I can't believe we like." So I guess that's a nudge that didn't happen. But sometimes it's not meant to be.
Yeah, there was a rumor circulating, and I've never confirmed this, that he's one of the largest Bitcoin holders. So
He did buy the auction of bitcoins from Silk Road. I think
yeah,
what was that, like 30,000 bitcoins at a time?
it was a lot. He
Yeah,
was like a top 10 Bitcoin holder. I don't know if he still owns them. I haven't validated any of this, but that's what I heard.
I have a feeling he does. He doesn't seem like the dumper to me.
All right, so let's talk about just why did you want to create something that would allow people to create a decentralized hedge fund, a DAO, some sort of vehicle? Now, I'm big on decentralization because it's less government control. But what was your philosophy and reason for setting this up?
Yeah. So it actually has been a long time in the making, and for different reasons with my co-founders and I as to how we kind of got to that point. But essentially speaking, almost everybody in our team, we are 10 people now already, comes one way or another from a country that experienced what failed financial judgment calls or financial, rulings have caused economically. My parents are both from ex-communist countries. We have people from Turkey with hyperinflation, Argentina with hyperinflation, people from corrupt countries from the Middle East, people that have seen firsthand what happens if centralized power structures fail in the monetary side of things. Now, I have been blessed to have been born in Germany and grown up in a system profoundly similar to what we are seeing today. And I didn't have to relearn all of this. But I always saw what happened with people that weren't fortunate enough to get the education of how you need to behave in a, free market economy, capitalist, globalist society. So what I started realizing after venturing into stocks, and I also been part of the GameStop movement, which I think rings a bell for a lot of people, is that there is a massive need for education. There's a massive need for access generation. There's a massive need for kind of creating fairer stakes for players in the financial system. Right now, what we can see is hedge funds and family offices have access to financial products that no one else has. Period. And while they may not always be the most profitable, the chance of them being not profitable are significantly lower than what we can invest into, right? Nonetheless, if we're even allowed to invest into that. So the entire philosophy is, okay, we are building this new financial system, which is DeFi. We are all certain it is the future, one way or another. But right now, users that are curious about DeFi or want to get into DeFi basically have to navigate a billion booby traps. And even after they navigate the booby traps, the benefit or the price they get is having to spend countless hours to keep up to date, right? So you have the space where CDFI companies, Celsius, and all the other, I guess, centralized DeFi gateways are imploding, liquidating themselves because they play with leverage to kind of advertise high returns. You have chains like Terra completely imploding. Terra was so, novice oriented that's a real shame. You have implosions all over the place. So the need for our product came from understanding, okay, we need to create a sustainable access to best-in-class actively managed strategies for people that don't want to necessarily spend all day, every day researching about what is happening. They want to use this as a means to help themselves, the same way, you would say in the 60s and 70s, a family's investment plan would just be a couple stocks and government bonds because they paid 8, 9, 10%, which was sufficient. Nowadays, you don't have that luxury anymore. We want to go back to a time where users have the luxury of sustainable, high returns. High being, again, in big quotes, high in the sense of 8, 9, 10% and not, 100, 200, 300, while being able to not have to actively manage what's happening.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. That's why you did it. Why did you choose the Cosmos blockchain?
So Cosmos is an ecosystem which is kind of perfectly segueing into a problem that this ecosystem is facing and what we're solving on the blockchain side of things, not the user need side of things. Yeah. So Cosmos is competing with blockchains in the user experience, but it's not a singular blockchain. You have the Cosmos Hub, which you're referring to, but it's actually just an SDK. So we are running our entire own chain, which is kind of a pretty novel thing called app chains. The issue with Cosmos is that it's super complicated to navigate all those different chains, right? You have the benefit of very low transaction fees and high transaction speeds. So we chose it because it's a very user-friendly kind of baseline of what they're focusing on. Ethereum, even after the merge, will not be cheap to use. People think that, but it's still going to be the same transaction fees. We chose Cosmos because it's very scalable and cheap to use, and also because the fragmentation of the projects allows us to create connection points between all of them, yet again adding benefit to the ecosystem.
Okay. Are you concerned about just any Joe Blow coming in and creating their own? Let's just continue with hedge fund analogy. Yeah. So if I wanted to set up a hedge fund using Quasar, and I would be managing it, and I would be, even though it's decentralized, and I'd like you to explain that as well.
Yeah.
Are you concerned about who would be doing this stuff? What if it's a nefarious actor, for example?
Yeah. So we have a lot of checks, balances, and also ways of showcasing vaults that are going to address those issues. So on the side of what if a billion people launch vaults, right? What if vaults are low quality, maybe even from non-trustworthy people? We're going to have different categories on our platform. We're going to have kind of whitelisted vaults. So I would say those are vaults that we actually have an active management arm internally in our team, as well as outside strategists helping. So these are going to be the ones we advertise as kind of our flagship product. We're going to have vaults that fall under the trusted, community, and audited vaults, where we, for example, play a security role, but don't go beyond that. And we also vet the founders, or I would say the launchers of the vaults, to kind of put them in the second category. And then the third one is the Wild Wild West, right? One way to kind of combat spamming of vault creation is you need to have a deposit in our token in order to create a vault. Secondly, on the actual vault design side of things, there is also checks and balances. Number one is a vault creator can't just transfer the entire vault amount to their private wallet. That's not possible. Secondly, vaults are independently governed from the chain, so we as Quasar actually don't have any power about what your vault decides to do. If your vault, for example, would decide to short Quasar, well, I'm not gonna like it, but you can do that. We don't have the power to stop you. So that's kind of the sovereign governance aspect you said in the beginning, right? I would say like libertarian leaning, the less government involvement. We are in a sense the government, and we are deciding to not interfere in that process. But there's also kind of
You'd be the first government not to, but go ahead.
yeah, no, exactly. But there's obviously also ways for users to just take funds out if they want. And yeah, vault creators cannot just do what they want with the funds. That's not how that works.
Okay, and so you'll split them into categories. How is the trading done within the vault that you give them?
So that depends on what kind of vault it is. The baseline kind of infrastructure we use is called IBC, inter-blockchain communication. You can look at it in a way of being a very beefed up bridge. We saw the Nomad hack happening, right? 160 million from a bridge.
Yeah.
I don't like bridges. Like I touched one once. It was a half-hour process for $10. I have never done it again. I'd never tried any of those because it's a centralized entity. You're giving up everything you care about in blockchain for some mild comfort. The way I explain bridges in IBC to kind of explain the baseline technology is if you use a bridge, it's almost like you're going to a place in your country with a kind of a passport or a piece of gold, and you tell them, hey, I would like to verify that I have this piece of gold in another country. They give you a piece of paper saying, oh, this is your piece of gold, and we promise you we won't get hacked, no one's going to break into our place. You go to another country, have a piece of paper saying, oh, I guess I own this gold. IBC works in a way like a passport. You can fly to another country, and every time you enter another country being another chain, you get another ID stamped into your passport. The country has another ID for your passport. It's the same passport. It's not a synthetic product. That's how IBC works. That's how tokens can transfer between various chains natively. So that's the technology behind the vault.
Okay, excellent. So it hits an exchange, and the exchange does it, or does the IBC do it?
Oh, right, yeah. So the way strategies are executed are essentially up to the vault creators. You can have an off-chain automated strategy doing the math, and then automatically executing transactions, even cross-chain. So the user never has to do anything beyond just depositing the funds. And the vault creator again can code something to automatically trade for him as well. A vault can also just be, manual trading. So if, for instance, a DAO decides to create a treasury and manage it with a vault of hours, they could just manually transfer funds as well. So it totally depends on the use case, but it can be automated.
And then it would seem to me, correct me if I'm wrong, the vault can kind of self-report in real time what the returns are. Is that a true statement?
Indirectly, yes. So we have developed a thing called IB queries, inter-blockchain queries. So it's a way to gather data, and we would just use that to gather, I would say, the returns data. But yes, in a way, the vault is self-aware, especially when it comes to this sounds like it's AI, but it's not. But if you have an automated strategy, it's obviously going to use like as many data points as humanly possible. So it's going to keep track of what's happening, also the return side of things.
Yeah, because it seems to me that what goes in that vault, it's easy to kind of see, and then you could look at the lifetime return, the 5-day return,
absolutely,
5-year return, whatever.
You could see if it's a quality vault or not. Absolutely.
How do you know if it's quality or not?
Well, if you have, let's say, a team of 3 or 4 people managing a vault, you have a Cosmos developer, a risk assessment guy, you have a strategist and a quant researcher, all of them vetted by us, and you can look at in the past year at the trades they've made and the profits they generated. I would consider that to be quite trustworthy at that point. It's a bit different than, some anon guy that has never posted a picture of himself online creating a vault and telling you it's going to make 1 billion% in 2 days.
Right. I'm just going to invest in these 50,000 percent
trust me, bro.
DeFi tokens.
Yes, my strategy is trust me, bro. Yeah.
All right. So you set them up. They're somewhat self-reporting, and are these temporary vehicles, or could I could set up my business, and I'm talking me personally. I could set up my business as a hedge fund, or maybe it's a DAO. I want to invest in something and just run it for years, or are these designed to be kind of short-lived?
No. So these are meant to be long-term things. For legal reasons, it would be a DAO. So it's a hedge fund has regulatory aspects. But yes, you could absolutely do that long-term as long as our chain is running. you can have a vault, the same vault on our chain. There's not a time that's kind of running out, to the end of the lifetime. Like the vault exists, it's independently governed, it can be your vault, you can make it what you want it to be. You can connect to any IBC-enabled chain. In the future, even Polkadot. Polkadot is currently in the works in the background to enabling native IBC. So it would be any Cosmos chain, any Polkadot parachain. Moving forward, we already have Evmos, which is kind of an EVM integration indirectly. So the goal really is that you don't have limits to what you can do with the vault.
Excellent. And then that vault, let's say I get 100 friends to invest in it. And we're using these terms loosely, like hedge fund. I know it's a DAO.
Just had to joke.
And they can invest in and take out without any issues. They don't have to call me on the phone and just say,
no.
Hey.
So there are restrictions when it comes to what you are committing in a way. So for instance, in order to create predictable capitals, how we refer to it internally, you do pick a time that you want to lock your stake in. However, you can take them out earlier with a penalty. So if, for some reason you want your money back, the penalty, we're not talking about a 50% penalty or something. We're just talking about maybe you lost your profits over the time generated if you want to get out earlier. But you can tell, a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, you can pick the time you want to put your tokens in. But yes, it's not up to you, the strategist, to say if they can or can't do that.
Yeah, because it could get pretty messy if you've got people moving in and out all the time. And it's like, how do you invest that if the capital is
exactly? Absolutely. Yeah. No, that is the reason why we want to really encourage long-term thinking. That's why I keep talking about the point of sustainable yields. If you could make more money if you want to research 12 hours a day and just keep rebalancing liquidity pools, right? But the time aspect you're putting into this is not scalable. You can make very close to that amount of money if you invest into the right vault with the right team behind it that's incentivized to manage this for you because they get upside. And you can still take out your funds anytime you want, but you don't have to actively manage them.
Okay, got it. I like that. It's a good model. So are you launched yet?
We have our internal testnet live already, which may not sound like much, but if you're building your own blockchain, it is kind of a mild hype moment in our team.
It's
but
painful, I know.
Yeah, no, it's very. I would have laughed at my face like if I would have told me 3 years ago we're building an own blockchain. But with Cosmos SDK, it's just very scalable. Our product is launching, hopefully not in Elon time, in November.
Okay, so November. Do you have a waiting list, or how do people sign up for this?
Yeah, so right now we just have social media channels like Twitter, Medium, Discord, Telegram, and our website. There's not a waiting list because it is permissionless, so we don't need to gather your email addresses, for example. But you will be kept up to date through our channels as to how we evolve. We are gonna open up our testnet step by step for instance, validators, for security of the network, and then once November or once mainnet launch hits, we're going to give users the ability to get tokens with a launch. So we're going to do an LBP, which is, in very easy terms, it's an auction for our tokens done in a decentralized exchange. So it's kind of like a version 4 of ICOs without all the problems that past versions of raising monies publicly have.
Wonderful. So this auction, everything's announced on your Telegram channels.
Everything will be announced. It's going to be on Osmosis, which is the biggest DEX on the decentralized exchange on Cosmos ecosystem. We are also exploring other ways to let people participate, but until we have a fiat on ramp and an app, that being version 3, I would say in my mind, kind of the real ready for mainstream adoption versions, you are going to have to buy it through a decentralized exchange. Yes.
Okay. All right. With that, Valentin, pleasure to have you on. Is there anything else we didn't cover that we should have covered?
Not necessarily. I think kind of from a personal standpoint, I think it's very important to really hammer the point of how much risk users are exposed to that they don't realize. And I think the blockchain space is it's a very predatory space, right? And that's kind of the reason why we're building this. It is the Wild West by the definition of the word, right? People like to say, oh, nobody shot each other in the Wild West because it was a hostile place and no one dared to, but the statistics show otherwise. it is very easy to fall for scam artists. It's very easy to fall for, unrealistic promises. The kind of the old saying that everyone's dad has probably told him at least once, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. Stands truer than ever in crypto. And I just want to encourage people to, think about where they put their money, because Solana wallet got hacked. Because, if you click the wrong link, your wallet got drained, right?
Yeah.
Nomad Bridge 160 million, Celsius I think 1.3 billion or something. Those are numbers. That is real money from real people who promised things that they didn't get. So I just want people to really think about what they want to do with their money and hopefully make the perfect decisions.
All right, well said. With that, thank you very much, and
Thank you.
we'll let everyone know when you launch.
Awesome, sounds good, Mark, and it was a pleasure to be here.
If you've had the problems with banks and inflation and anything having to do with the US dollar or any currency around the world for that matter, you know how important crypto can be, but it's got to be the right crypto. So our friends at Tetragard have decided to create what's probably generally considered an ETF with 3 tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and PaxG. They've wrapped it all up with a rewards token that's built in, and it's easy to buy. It's really quick at the website here. Now, the best part is you're getting rewards while owning this, and therefore you're making money just by holding on to it. How could you go wrong with this? Why would you buy Bitcoin, PaxG, or Ethereum separately when you can get them all wrapped together at the lowest prices with a rewards token built in? I can't think of a reason why. Can you?